Guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today because today I will try to crank or start my car, and I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too. Y'all probably didn't expect this video so soon, but it's here now. We've been working hard on the wiring. I've been learning a lot. So I'm so excited to share this with you. And last video we stopped on me getting the drive shaft resized to fit the car better, and I'm happy to report that it came back and it's awesome. I think I have some clips that I could add here where I filmed us testing it out. I'll insert them here. It's the moment of truth. Tooth. See if it fits. Oh god, oh my god, oh my god. So nervous. Oh, that one went in. Good? Good?
I mean, close enough.
Close enough. I need to hear the okay.
It lines up. The transmission is still sitting a little further down in the back because we need to trim some more on the top. But once it sits where it needs to, it should just slide right in. And nothing binds. Ooh. Everything is perfect.
That's good.
All of this is in. Everything's reinforced. Once we have everything else like lined up properly, we'll do the structural foam, and then everything is good to go.
So as you saw, they fit well. I got them done by Drive Shaft Pro, or I think the company is called Drive Shaft Pro, and they did a very good job. I wasn't able to film it, but they did a good job. So I definitely recommend that company if you ever need a drive shaft resize or anything of that sort. So yeah, here it is, guys. It's in, it's wired. We put the headers in, we put basically most of the things except the ignition coils, and we haven't wired the fuel system and all that. So we're gonna do that, but right now we're just gonna try to crank it. And I will have Jason talk to you guys about a little bit more about the wiring and how he figured all this out, because I've been learning a lot from him, because coding and wiring is like a whole other side of this swap that I am not aware of. And he's been very patient, and I've been learning a lot. So he's gonna explain it to you guys a little bit better than I can. And in the future, I'll ask him to make a detailed video on how he wired this and how it should be wired, because I know there's not a lot of information out there on how to do this. But yeah, before we begin, let me give out my Instagram and my YouTube shout out. Make sure to check out her Instagram. She is a E46 lover just like me. And also thank you for my YouTube comment. I appreciate them all. And let's begin.
So as far as a quick rundown of what we've done so far in terms of wiring and plumbing and all that. So motor and trans just put in. We ran the fuel line. Right now we're just using normal 3/8 hose, but we're gonna be putting the stainless steel braided hose. But for right now, we're just doing everything just to see how big we need it and if it's gonna work. I already went ahead and coated out the vats, as well as a bunch of other stuff that we don't need using HP tuners. And then I try to figure out what pin does what, and we've got so far, so this right here is for the ignition. Then we've got constant power going to the ECU. And we also have the gas pedal hooked up. And we have the OBD2 port hooked up. So yeah, all of this stuff right now is just, all the wires are tied together and just electric taped. We haven't, soldered anything. We use some taps and some alligator clips just so I can figure out what each thing does. As far as what's coming out from the BMW side, so we still have the DME hooked up. We're just tapping into the ignition signal, and we're also using the starter signal from the black starter wire back there. So that's all we've done. Besides that, everything else is just hooked up as factory. Right now the fuel pump is disconnected, but we also have the factory fuel pump in it for right now. It should be enough to at least get the car started if we need to, but we are going to end up putting an M3 fuel pump, which runs around 75 PSI with the EKP module. But we have a Corvette style fuel filter / regulator, which regulates the pressure without any vacuum or anything. So it's just a fixed regulation. That way we don't have to worry about running any vacuum lines. And for the first startup, we're not sure if it's actually going to start yet, so we don't have any of the ignition coils, so the spark plug wires, none of that's hooked up. The fuel pump, like I said, is turned off. We have massive vacuum leak because brake booster's not even hooked up. Same with all the emission stuff. None of these hoses are hooked up. We just capped off the water pump and lower radiator hose, as well as the heater hoses. And then this head coolant supply line as well. So it should at least try to crank. It obviously won't start. There's no spark, there's no fuel, but it should crank. We don't have any of the O2 sensors hooked up. I did delete the rear O2 sensors with HP tuners. The front two sensors, even though they're not hooked up, it'll just run a default map. Obviously, you don't want to run it like that for too long. But all that stuff, like we said before, when we figure out everything perfect, then we will actually make a separate video on what you need to do for wiring, as well as the plumbing situation and all that. We did contact Daniel from Bimmer Forums. If anybody is familiar with LS swaps, he makes a solution with an Arduino board that uses the signal from the GM side of things, because they use CAN bus as well, and feeds it to the cluster, so your cluster will work perfectly without any lights on and all that. But we're going to try to see if we can work around that and just use the factory wiring. We'll figure all that out. Let's see if it starts. So this wire right here is the one that goes to the ignition. I've got it labeled X6004 pin 26, which is where it connects on the DME. And here is the ignition wire. So right now, obviously the ignition's turned off. That's why nothing happened. And all of this stuff eventually we'll be cutting it down. It's there's only 4 wires and a couple of relays that we need to hook up. So this whole box will be gone. We'll just have a small relay panel, and then we'll figure out the whole wiring where we're going to relocate it. The belt's not on, so we don't have to worry about having the power steering filled up. Alternator is hooked up, but it's not going to do anything. And we've got the ground hooked up to the factory location. So we've got the ground hooked up to the factory location for the BMW, but we did have to just put it somewhere else. This is the GM ground cable, which is supposed to be up higher, but we just hooked it up right here for right now. Hopefully it cranks. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, here, I'll hold the camera.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Make sure the shifter's in neutral. All right, come on. It works. Damn, that motor's moving around a lot. They're going like do-do-do-do-do-do.
Really?
I don't know why. And it's in there solid.
Oh my god.
Alright, let's hook up the ignition wires and we turn the fuel pump on.
But let's figure out if we can actually turn it on. Let's go.
Damn, it actually worked. Man. So all that wiring, there's documentation as far as LS swaps go, but there's variations between each LS. And figuring out the exact LS3, the wiring from there are pinouts available online, but you still have to do, quite a bit of figuring things out. And as far as the BMW stuff, there's pinouts that you can find for that as well. But just trying to get everything to mesh together. So it did crank. We don't know if it's going to start yet. So now what we'll do is make sure everything's tight. The engine was moving around a lot, which is surprising with the poly mounts. But I'll just I'll double check all the bolts, make sure everything's tight. We'll turn the fuel pump on and hook up the spark plug wires. That should turn on. Hopefully it turns off once it turns on though.
Mm-hmm.
Issues. The headers.
What?
The headers are in the way.
For the ignition coils?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Bro, what up? Where?
The headers are in the way for the ignition coils.
Will it still go in?
Should. You just gotta touch. It clicked in, but it's touching there. It's gonna melt that. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Oh my goodness.
Another fault with the CX Racing crap.
The shade.
This is bullshit. Alright, all the fuel and everything's hooked up. All the ignition coils are hooked up. Let's see if it actually turns on. I already primed the fuel system, so I know the fuel's going to the motor now. But I don't know if the fuel pump's gonna stay running after it turns on. I haven't wired the fuel pump relay from the GM side. We're just using all the BMW stuff still. But we'll see. This is open header. It's gonna be loud as hell if it turns on.
All right, attempt number 2. He probably already, I see him talking. He's probably already telling you guys that he already primed the fuel system and everything. So I probably should get the key. I'm so nervous. I forgot the key, boy. All right, here goes nothing. Shit, it's gonna be so loud. I'll probably have to lower the volume and when I'm editing, but yeah, let's do it. You ready? No, it cut off.
Did you turn it off? Do it again?
That shit loud. That's so crazy. And then you can like see it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's finally here. It's been like, oh my god. Can't even talk right now. I'm gonna look back at this. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so cringy.
That engine's moving around a lot.
Right? I told you that.
That whole thing is twisting like crazy. Alright, turn it on again. Holy shit, it works. That's the header smoking.
Guys, what can I say? It turned on. It's been so long. I was speechless. We were both speechless. We were just like, wow, like on the first try, both times. I don't even know what to say. Just wow, cool, awesome. But it just you know when you work so hard towards something and it's kind of like the day is finally there when it's getting close to the end, and it's almost there, guys. It's almost there. So I'm happy about that. Make sure to follow Jason. His YouTube is Shop Life TV. He does a lot of other kinds of videos, and honestly, I love learning from him and just learning about my car, you know? And I appreciate him having the patience with me, but it's amazing. So with that, with turning it on, we did find out that the engine moves way too much for our liking. Jason is thinking about that to use the actual rubber engine mounts from the E46 so that it doesn't move as much, because this is not acceptable. So that being said, we do not recommend the CX Racing engine mounts if you are doing this swap. So yeah, I will update you in the future about how he will go about making custom ones so to fit the original E46 engine mounts. And I will also have Jason make a very detailed video on the wiring and the coding. So just in case you guys are planning on doing the swap as well. I know that is not documented properly, so hopefully our future video could help you out. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support, and make sure to follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys later. Bye.